Years ago, I learned a very important thing about this meditation. It's truly about lifting oneself up, transcending that part of oneself that says, I can't, that really is stuck somehow in the mud, of going deep enough inside to connect with energy that is infinite in the universe. That energy is so powerful, it will break down every barrier inside a human being. And that's the purpose of all this. And then not only just sitting and meditating, but making it palpable, making it a pragmatic part of one's life, where you begin to see that there's a certain kind of wisdom that comes through. And that wisdom will attract people, that will make people want to listen, want people, to learn something about how you manage to do this thing in your own life. I mean, this is very important because unless it's made practical, it's just some airy-fairy kind of thing that exists in, maybe exists in one's mind or one's emotions, and it's not brought down to just the nitty-gritty of life, of making life into something sacred. I really believe there is a covenant that we all have with God, with Spirit, and that is to do the inner work that makes it possible for us to be vehicles for that energy so that we can uplift not only ourselves, but other people. And the first person we have to overcome is ourselves, that part of us that says, I can't, it's too much, I'm not big enough, I'm not secure enough, I'm this, I'm that. And I mean, all that disappears if one kind of signs an agreement with higher energy that you will do the work to overcome it. And then we begin to live with a certain kind of wisdom, we begin to get knowledge. And I don't mean intellectual knowledge, and I don't mean knowledge based on one's IQ and, information and, all the stuff that they shove down our throats today. But I mean knowledge, real knowledge that comes from what's infinite in the universe, wisdom, pure wisdom that comes from a place that's infinite in the universe, that gives us the ability to not only see what's an illusion and what's reality, because most of life is an illusion, but learning how to use the illusion to grow spiritually, learning how to take the things that are killing most people and that are sucking them dry and using it as a way to have a spiritual life. And then it becomes a practical, we not only uplift ourselves, but we can uplift other people because we get past that thing inside us that refuses to accept the fact that we can grow, we can overcome that heaviness, that depression, that insecurity inside, that all that stuff, that people live with, and they think, is a reason to excuse themselves from doing, things that can not only uplift themselves, but uplift other people. I mean, the point of all this is to build a connection between oneself and higher energy. And that connection will not be possible unless we get past the thing in us that says, I can't do it. I'm too insecure. I don't, I'm too frightened about money. I'm too frightened about relationships. I'm too frightened about life. Once you build that connection, you stop being afraid of anything. It's all a gift that's been given to us and given to us because it really means we can use it to grow in our lives. Does anyone have a question you would like to? I hope this is clear, because I mean, even when I was younger, there was something in me that knew that I had to live in this world. I couldn't go sequester myself in a monastery or an ashram. Although, for God's sake, I ran an ashram for 10 years. But it wasn't the answer. And even while I was running it, I knew it wasn't the answer. I needed something more. Not that I don't have gratitude for every single person who was in my life while I was doing that. I do. All of them, played a part in me growing spiritually. And I spent that 10 years, boy, I went through a lot of bullshit, I'll tell you, but the ultimate goal was to uplift myself and to uplift every single person who attended my meditation classes and to see the God inside people, the seeds of God inside people. And we're all connected to that kind of wisdom. We have a chakra system. It's a direct link between every one of us and higher energy. And all we have to do is develop the chakra system. I mean, somebody gives you a violin, and all that separates you from playing Bach violin concertos or Beethoven is training. That's it. Getting training, learning how to play the violin, learning how to play the piano, learning how to paint. And yes, there has to be an kind of bred talent involved, but even that can be developed if a person has the need to do it. Does anyone have a question they would like to? I hope it's clear what I'm talking about because I'll repeat it again. There is like a contract, a covenant. There's a biblical term, and I'm not a very religious person. I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not too connected to religion, although I have a lot of spiritual and kind of religious art that surrounds me, Buddhas and Shivas, and even Christian art, because I like it. I think it's art that is sacred. But there's a covenant. There's a thing, and that covenant is based on how deeply we need to grow spiritually. That's really what it's based on. And if the need is really deep, then there's an agreement. We will do whatever we have to do to have a spiritual life. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? And what is it about? It's really God is love. I mean, God is a manifestation of everything, but at its pinnacle, it's love. It's being happy, and it's that joy, that love that can flow through, that can not only nurture oneself, but it can nurture members of your family, friends, people you meet in your job, in life. Does anyone have a question you'd like to ask?
Stuart, do you
Yes.
hear me? Yeah. Can we have a connection with God when we have pain in ourselves? When we are going something, you know.
Oh, Flora, everything you see outside yourself is a manifestation of higher energy in the universe. Everything, trees, flowers, people, cars, you know, everything, building, it's all a manifestation of energy that flows through people and flows through life. It
Mm,
comes from a higher source. The only thing that's missing is our ability to see it. We are so locked in ourselves and so caught up in our own stuff that we
mm,
forget that we're living in a sacred world. And all of it is a manifestation of that energy. Suddenly life gets beautiful instead of life being a pain in the ass.
But when I feel good, I can feel God. And it's
Well,
come something painful and
look,
negative, and I miss that.
yeah, I know. Look, Laura, I'm trying to work with you so that at some point you'll get strong enough to be able to see that. That's
Hmm.
why you're here. You
Okay.
know, that's why you're here. At some point in your life, if you build the chakra system that I talk about,
Okay.
even the negative things become sacred.
Okay.
You don't get all crazy because somebody does something negative, you know?
Mm,
You
mm,
see, all right, they're teaching me about me. I have to grow. Why did I attract that? I have to grow, become more of a human being, more conscious.
mm,
Everything becomes sacred. I mean, even, look, I say I'm not religious, but, I mean, probably the greatest teacher that ever lived was the Buddha, Christ. These love your neighbor, love your enemy. They would talk about, you know,
mm,
because you attract I mean, all this war that goes on, it's people getting revenge and revenge. They keep attracting this insanity. If they would just say, hey, let's just stop for a second and see what we can find positive about each other,
mm,
stop
mm.
attracting this insanity.
Okay.
But you got to have a system inside that enables you to see the world that way.
And where we have conflict with family.
Well, it starts with family. That's where it starts.
Okay.
You know, it starts with children loving parents, parents loving. I once wrote in a book that my parents, no matter what they do, they're still my parents, and I have to love them. Same thing
Okay.
with my daughter. My daughter, no matter what she does, I
Mm,
have to learn how to love unconditionally,
okay.
unconditionally, and
Okay.
not judge. Because
Mm,
every human being is going through their own suffering, their own problems, their own tensions, and one has to just learn how to love unconditionally, give them room to grow. And I mean, I used to have this with my daughter. She would do crazy things. And I would see, I said, well, what did you learn? That's all I would ask her. What did you
mm,
like? Lecture her on the right way to live. I was,
mm,
what did you learn from
mm,
this?
mm, mm.
And she would then tell me what she learned. And all right, it was a very interesting approach. It
Okay, but
taught me
mm,
how to love somebody unconditionally. And it also taught me that lecturing people on the right way to live never works. It never works.
but did you get angry with her?
No,
I talked to my sister with my
no,
sister, and she told something negative, and I just told her facts, and she said, but I wasn't angry first time. I wasn't angry, and she said to me that you don't have sister anymore.
yeah, don't be angry and let them be and let them find out. I mean,
Okay.
look, But I was in prison when I was a kid, you know?
Mm,
I mean, look, I met people there that, my God, they were really interesting people in that place. But I'm telling you, I've been through hell in my life. I was sitting there saying, Stuart, it doesn't get any worse than this. You
mm,
have to change. I said, this is before I met my teacher. I said, you have to change.
mm, mm.
I kept telling myself this, sitting in that cell. I was there for about a month. You have to change. 3 weeks after I got out of that place, I met my spiritual teacher
Okay.
because I finally made that commitment. I had to change.
Mm.
It was me that was attracting all this crap to me all the time.
Yes.
And I had to change.
Okay. I try to change. I am working with myself.
Have patience.
Have patience. But
Thanks.
what should I do with my sister? Because I
Just
feel
with your
like,
sister. Leave her alone.
okay. Should
Just
I?
leave her alone.
I think I can write to her that I love her. Is it okay?
If you really love her, leave her alone. Let her be.
Okay.
Just let her be.
Okay.
It'll change. I had that with my family. I finally just left them alone. And all of a sudden, my whole life changed. And they started coming to me. What are you doing?
Mm,
Mother called me up. Can I come to your meditation classes? Blew my socks away. Sitting there and meditating with your mother,
mm,
you know?
okay. I understand.
I just said, no, I have to believe in what I do in my life, and I can't allow anybody to interfere it. And the best way to not let people interfere with you is to just leave them alone. Let it be. Do your life, grow. And
Mm,
one day it'll all turn around. It'll all turn around. And I'm not talking from having read about this in a book. I'm talking about this because I've been through it.
I believe you. I believe you. Mm,
I'll tell you a story. I was involved in meditation. I had teachers, gurus. I was traveling all over the world. I was a crazy young man.
mm,
I was traveling all over the world, hitchhiking everywhere in the world, all over Europe, Africa, and my family. They refused to even have anything to do with me. They thought I was just a lunatic. And one day I went home for a dinner. Went to my aunt's house for a dinner. I had a cousin who was who had cancer, very serious cancer, and they told us she had a month to live. And I'll never forget, my aunt came up to me, aunt who used to poo-poo me, and you're a nut, and you're a this. She said, Stuart, you're into all this stuff. She said, is there anything you can do for my daughter?
mm,
And it blew me up. I said, yes, I can try. I went to the hospital the next day, and I asked my cousin, I said, do you really want to live? I hadn't seen her, it must have been 10, 15 years. I said, and she had a stomach tumor that was this big. I said, do you really want to live? And she said, yes. I sat down and I started doing this meditation with her. It was extraordinary. Within 1 month, the whole cancer went into remission. She was running around the hallways of this cancer. You got to get my cousin to work with you.
mm,
It's unbelievable what he does. You got to get him to do this with you. I mean, this is a true story.
mm.
Anyway, when she left the hospital, I said to him, why don't you come to Texas, spend 6 months? I'll teach you what I know, and then you'll be able to use this the rest of your life. Oh no, I have a family, I have this, I have that. How can I go to Texas? What am I said to her, please, come. No, no, I can't come. I got this, I got, a year later, the cancer came back and she died. It
Oh, okay.
was extraordinary. I pleaded with her. I had the same thing. I wrote this book called Leah.
Mm.
based on a true story. The same thing happened. They told this young 13-year-old girl she had 3 weeks to live. And I started doing this healing work with her. And 3 months later, the doctors did x-rays and came, we got to operate. The cancer has gotten shrunk inside her, and we can operate now. We couldn't operate before. They came
Mm.
to the opera, we got the whole thing, the whole cancer they took out of her. And I pleaded with the mother. I loved this kid. She was like my own child, you know. I said, go, move out of your house, come live somewhere else, completely change your life. I told her this. And she said, oh, no, how can we do that? And I said, I'll pay. I told her, I'll pay. You come and live up here in Denton and I'll I'll pay the rent. Want to go live in Oklahoma? I'll pay the rent, but you got to completely change your life.
Mm.
No, no, a year later, I went to a movie in Dallas, came out of the movie. There was the mother. I said, where's your daughter? What happened? She said she died 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
But the doctors, I mean, it became part of medical history what took place.
Mm.
They came out dancing, big smile, and we got the whole thing. It's a miracle. We've never seen anything like this.
Mm. Okay. Oh.
So what I'm saying is that what happened with my cousin, I was the black sheep of the family. Suddenly, can you help? And when I help them, my mother calls me up. Can I come study with you?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm. I hope so. Mm.
So I'm
You do.
not talking from, I've been through this stuff, you know, and I still see it today. People take me for granted. They really do. I do retreats. I do this. Don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have this bullshit, you know. If you really need something, you find a way to do it.
Yeah.
They take me for granted today.
Can I tell something? I want to, when I get to operate, I wrote to you to pray for me. Did you read that? I mailed to you the day I was going to be operate of my back,
Hmm?
and when I came back from, I was sleeping. I felt your energy. I felt very much.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Thank
And
you.
look, I'm not a kid anymore. How much longer am I going to live? People better take advantage of this energy. It's an extraordinary energy that's flowing through me now.
It comes so strong, light. I saw you, and I was listening to the prayers all the time, and I dancing after the operate, and it was very. I didn't feel
I'm
some.
with you, Laura. You're a dear. You've grown a lot. You look like you're 7 years old now. I mean, you really are a delightful person. And I can't wait till you're sitting up, with the operation, the pain will go away. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is when the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, puts something in you, don't take it for granted.
Oh, okay. I
Use
know.
it because one day Rudy was gone. A lot of people, oh my
Mm.
God, what am I going to do now? And he always told me, don't love. He told me, don't love me. Don't just learn what I have to teach. Learn what I have. That's the greatest thing you can do for me.
Mm.
Learn what I have to teach.
Uh,
Don't ever take me for granted. One day I won't be here anymore.
I know. I feel that. I don't take you granted. Sometimes it's difficult to come here.
I know it's difficult, but
Yeah,
and it's difficult not to come either.
yeah. I know. I know. More difficult. But you see, I cannot sit and everything, but I am coming,
Okay, all right.
and it helps.
All right, let's finish the conversation for now.
Yes.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to? Okay, if there are no more questions, then I thank you. God bless you all. And there'll be meditation on Tuesday. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too.
Thank you, sir.
Mm.